Howdy folks, welcome to Meandering Across America. In today's video, after spending a couple of relaxing hours on the South Beach at Perfect Day at CoCoCay and going to eat at the Snack Shack, we saw some storm clouds brewing in the distance. So we decided it's time to try to get back to the ship. Note that we have a separate video related to walking from the ship over to the South Beach area of Perfect Day, as well as we're going to have an opinion video related to the Snack Shack. This video was taken on June 6, 2022 at Perfect Day at CoCoCay. We were on Royal Caribbean's Harmony of the Seas, one of two ships that were in port on that day. So there were about 10 to 12,000 people that were on Perfect Day on this given day. Heck, it's crowded enough even if this one ship, if Harmony of the Seas with its 6,000 passengers, was on the private island. So seeing these storm clouds rumbling in the distance, we decided to grab the first tram that we could, which was near the Snack Shack. As we were eating there, we noticed some lines that were there. We probably should have gone ahead and gotten the tram before we ate and just skipped the Snack Shack altogether. But it seemed to just transform during the time when we were eating. The blue skies, as you will see, turned to dark clouds all of a sudden. The one thing I do want to point out related to our tram ride, we did have to stop for a couple of different reasons. There was a big iguana that we stopped for as well. There were these peacocks that got out into the road, and then they got up into the side, and you'll see one fly right by me. For some reason, I don't think it liked my GoPro. It's like it was trying to attack it. Thankfully it didn't, but that's what it seemed like at the time. Well, after going a little bit, we arrived at the next stop. Along the way, you could see all these people walking and starting to walk back to the ship. When we got to the next stop, you saw a lot of people wanting to get on the tram. But the tram was almost full to start with. They tried to put as many people as they could onto the tram. There was also a delay because there was kind of a bottleneck of trams, because you could see they were trying to really act or react to what was getting ready to happen at this given time.
I mean, I have videos on YouTube.
Everybody could sense that it was coming. There were a few sprinkles along the way. People say, yeah, something's coming down. Then you realized it was a pretty good rain, and then it started blowing sideways. As we're riding along in the tram, you can see it. It's kind of funny. In the middle of it, they decide to play their song, their signature song related to it being a perfect day at CoCoCay, when in reality, we were all getting ready just to get a bath, a downpour. We were going to be soaked from head to toe very, very soon. So when we made it to the next tram stop, what we're going to do, we had to get off. But really, there was no shelter. Anywhere around there, there's not really that many areas of shelter. We walked over to where the sitting area was. Even though there's these type of colorful, almost cloth type of awnings, they do nothing for you. They're not protecting you from almost anything. The rain was coming through. There was no way to get around it. There's not enough buildings to get under in that area. So we all decided, just like everybody else, to make a run for the ship. So as you're starting to make this run, you realize you're just one of thousands trying to get back to these two different ships. You know, probably 10,000 people. I mean, if there were 10 to 12,000 people on the island, I bet you at that time there were several thousand at that one point in time trying to get back to the ships. There was a medical situation along the way. I hope that person is doing better, that they were needing to take care of, and they were taking them back to the ship. We could see ahead to where the ships were. There were lines around both sides of them. But before you got there, in the middle of the pier, there was kind of a waiting point, kind of a stopping point, where they were checking your SeaPass card to make sure, hey, should you be getting on this ship? We were stuck at this spot probably 15 to 20 minutes, and the rain was not letting up. We were right here at this point, as you will see in the video. There are just so many people around, so many people needing to get by, wanting to get through. But the reality was, when you get to that ship, what do you have to do? You have to have that SeaPass card scanned. You have to be x-rayed. Nobody was ready for this amount of people coming back to the ship at one time. So as we stood here, it helped me go back and ponder a different situation where I was in a similar situation. Now, on Perfect Day, there were 10 to 12,000 people on this island. And like I said, even just Harmony being there, probably the island would be relatively crowded on a given day. Well, we were on the Disney Fantasy in March of 2020, and we also got caught in a rainstorm on that day, again riding on the tram to the ship and then to the ship. But the difference at Castaway Cay, Disney's private island, was that on that Disney Fantasy cruise, there were probably only about 2,500 passengers in my memory. It was very much lower than its normal capacity, even back in March of 2020. So though we got soaked, and I'll put the link up above so you can see that soaking as well. Even though we got soaked, it wasn't the same massive amount of people that we saw on this given day. And when we're talking about massive amount of people, if we had 2,500 on that cruise on Disney, you know, we had probably between the two ships 10,000, but between the two that got off on the island. So we were all trying to get back. We all got soaked from head to toe. I'm sure we all ruined some things along the way. Some things are maybe still drying out is what it feels like along the way. Even though at the time it was miserable, it was also fun. It will be very memorable related to this given event. So we eventually did get checked in. We did scan our cards. We all got in successfully. We had our things x-rayed. We even had the towels that were very, very wet by now, and we had them exchanged when we got through security. They were pushing you along pretty quickly as you were going through there. However, this leads me to one of my pet peeves about Royal Caribbean. Those of you that have been on Royal Caribbean know about this. You know about the towel. When you go in there, you get your towel. You have to check your towel out with your cards. You have to return those towels. If you don't return them, now I think they're $25 a towel. There's no way in this lifetime that those towels are worth $25. And even on the morning show, and the cruise director, Jeffrey, which I didn't love that much on this cruise, but he did talk about those towels and the fact, hey, return them. We know they're not worth $25, but you need to keep up with them. It's a way to make sure we get them back. On Disney, you just kind of exchange those on Disney Cruise Line. I wish Royal would somehow move to that. Maybe give a lesser quality towel or something of that nature to where you're not afraid of it getting stolen or taken away or whatever it might be. But there's something about the hassle that I just dislike on a Royal cruise related. I've got to keep up with that doggone towel. Well, folks, that's about it. As you can see, it was a complete washout. It was definitely an experience that none of us will ever forget. Consider subscribing. We have a ton of videos coming your way from our cruise in early June 2022 on Royal Caribbean's Harmony of the Seas. So until next time, happy meandering.